Hi, welcome to another consonant analysis. In this analysis, I'm going to be looking at a rather unusual matter. You may remember the circumstances with regards to Michael Jackson's death, and obviously that was traumatic for a lot of people. And many people were interviewed, and there was lots of outpourings and things for people to say. And there was one particular person, somebody called Dave, who appeared on a show that Larry King was hosting, and he was asked to, say a few words. He was asked some questions by Larry King, and in consonant analysis, I'm always looking for something which is unique or unusual in some way in somebody's speech. Apart from the character himself or the person himself who spoke, this person called Dave, there was something very unusual about him. One of the first things he said struck me as being strange in some way, so I analysed it. And the extract that I've taken is, "Well, to liberate myself from the confines of my father's criminality." It's a very unusual, very strange type of thing to say. It's not something you hear every day. Very unusual the way it's put together. So I analysed it, and what I've done is I've actually in the report, which you'll find in the description below, I've actually colour-coded each word to make it easier to follow that word through the rest of the analysis. So hopefully you should be able to follow my reasoning for the conclusions that I arrive at by looking at the highlights, the colours. So to start with, I'll just basically go through the highlights, the highlighted words. And what I've done is I've actually put all of the marker text or the marker components in summary or exactly that will actually go with each word, and then I've given an interpretation at the bottom, so you can read those at your leisure. I'm just going to give you the interpretation of each word, and what I should point out is that each word is connected to the word that's on either side of it. So the words on either side of one word actually change its meaning. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because what you'll find is words like to and the you would think have identical meanings whenever they're spoken, but they don't. From a consonant analysis point of view, the words around these words actually change the meaning. And so they are included in the analysis, in the highlights, which I'm going to go over right now. So the first word is well, and I've put as an interpretation, by following the training provided, things will go well. The word to, which is highlighted in grey, I've given that an interpretation that things will be hard for the moment, but if I follow what I've been taught, things will go well. It seems like the subject is hinging everything on his performance. Liberate. My interpretation of that word is, I've been told that making a brave performance on stage will make me stronger, but from experience I really wonder if that's the case. So he has, he's got his own reservations about it. And when you actually see the performance, you actually see the video, which again, a link to that video will be in the description below. You'll see exactly what I mean. He seems very hesitant, uncomfortable. The phrase myself from, my interpretation is, put a plan in place to handle this situation. Now, you'll notice in the extract he uses me and myself, and I've interpreted these as they've got different meanings, yeah? You'd think they mean the same thing, but myself as opposed to me, it's about actions and what I'm going to do about things, yeah? Myself, me, myself. And I'll go into what me means in due course. So the word the, interpretation, deal with the matter outwardly and inwardly. So it's like objectification. It's like he's trying to get a grasp of the situation, what exactly is going on, by making it the instead of he's making it the. And that does come across when you actually go through the content that I've pulled from the markers with regards to that word. Confines. So my interpretation is, putting on the mask is the start of a new life, the start of a clean slate. And it literally is confined. He's confined within that mask, both in that situation and later on he will be confined, because once you've made this move, you've been disappeared, you're not going to come back, as I've mentioned in a previous video that I did with regards to, in fact, my most previous video that I did with regards to Jeffrey Epstein. Now he's been disappeared. He's not coming back. Well, if he is, he's going to have plastic surgery to alter himself. But things won't be the same. Well, perhaps he doesn't want things to be the same. He's had enough as things are at the moment. Anyway, I digress. Carrying on with the extract that we're currently looking at, the word of. The interpretation I've given is the mask will give me the freedom I need. But the word of is basically asking what's it all about. Why do I need the mask? Why can't I just do it some other way? Why? So he's trying to justify to himself why does he actually need the mask. The word me, as in contrast to myself, is my interpretation is if I put myself through this, although I don't like it, things will turn out for the better. It's about what's best for me. So myself is about the actions, whereas me that we're looking at here is about his feelings. Me. Fathers, the word fathers. My interpretation is I find the performance extremely uncomfortable. From a viewpoint of wearing prosthetics, and also because all of his family's going to be watching, and he's got to do this insane, crazy, stupid, crazy thing in front of all of his family. While they're watching, it's just a farce, basically. And what worse farce could there possibly be to be shamed in front of your whole family, and in fact the whole of the world? Criminality, the word criminality highlighted in red. I've put for that it's difficult to make the transition and focus on my performance while I'm still thinking about my catastrophic loss. So he's got that all in his mind, and then he's got to put on this performance as well. It's like, he really must be a performance artist. In fact, only a performance artist could actually do this. And there is an element of criminality involved in actually passing yourself off as somebody else, and as well, if you're faking your own death, you're pretending that you've died. There is, I'm not saying that's the case, but if that is the case, then it's a case of there's a lot of legal issues, that are attached to a person which disappear when they die, like more notably like financial, and legal rights, Okay, that's basically my that's the highlights. Moving on to the comments. You'll notice that I've put certain words in. If you look in the markers, the inexact markers, you'll notice that I've put certain words in square brackets. That's because these words are either phrases in which a particular marker is used, so they'll give it like a context. And I've tried to use the context which best matches the actual markers, as opposed to putting in ones that I want to fit. And also the square brackets, the words in the components in square brackets also, if they fall outside of markers, in other words, the round brackets, they refer to words which actually occur in the range between two markers, but they seem to fit the situation, so I've included them for emphasis or again for context. Comments to disguise. It's quite clear from the markers that the subject is going to great lengths to disguise himself. We'll come on to that in themes. If he's a burns victim, as he claims, then why would this be necessary? If you're a burns victim, you're going to disguise yourself and make yourself look better, not make yourself look like a burns victim. The only possibility is that he is not the person that he claims to be. Hence the notion that the subject is in fact Michael Jackson in disguise. And this point about disguise I actually come on to in the themes as well. There's quite a lot of words with reference to that particular theme. Exact markers. So looking at the exact markers when we come on to those, these fall on the words, they actually cover the words liberate myself from confined criminality. A possible narrative that could be drawn from them is as follows. The subject is furious and is grumbling about the allegations made. He is now in a worse financial state. He has put his plans in place to remedy both issues. If you're new to my channel, exact markers and inexact markers. Exact markers are the consonants if you'll notice here, you can see like this bottom line here. Yeah, they're the consonants that that I take in three letters, three consonants at a time, or 3 letters at a time, that actually have an exact match in the source reference I'm using to pull out the definitions. And what I do is I just put them in a block at the side of the marker code in my report, in my analysis. Whereas the inexact markers are 3-letter consonant blocks that don't have an exact match in the source reference. So what I do from the source reference is I take the 2 markers from either side of where that marker would be, and I put those in round brackets and include them in the analysis instead. And what I find is that works because because of the way that the source reference works. Everything sort of like follows in a flow and is like part of a narrative. And from experience, that works. So I've put here with regards to the exact markers, because what they tend to do, the exact markers, they tend to give you like a skeleton and an overview of the rest of the markers. And usually they're a lot fewer than the inexact markers, so it's very useful to pull them out separately and list them in a separate block, because you get an immediate overview of what the whole of the analysis is about. So I put here, the mention of whoring is a possible indication that the whole matter is connected with sexual impropriety. I think that's number 2 in the exact markers. There's an exact marker for whoring, fornication. Next point, the mention of bankruptcy is a possible indication that the subject finds himself in a financially unsound situation. Now, I believe that was one of the problems that Michael was having, because of like Neverland, and it was just that's, I think that got sold, but just the financial aspect of things. And there's another video that I just want to go on and that want to analyse, where Michael's just going around buying these ridiculously expensive trinkets or objet d'art, because that's his taste, as he says. So the financial situation is perhaps as a result of litigation, or perhaps as a result of his rather luxurious lifestyle. See themes, comfort. So we'll come on to that in themes. The word confines covers the markers to whore and to be lofty in the exact markers, which could possibly be rendered to indicate that the whole discussion of his current state revolves around, or is confined to, the matter of sexual impropriety as against his status, to him at least. I say at least because there also appears to be the issue of money, which does figure in the exact markers, but just not in those markers covered by the word confines. Also, the words myself from cover the bankruptcy and the plan of action, a more outward matter, whereas confines covers a more personal matter, i.e. intimacy. It's as though the subject sees these as 2 separate aspects of the matter, himself as a person with feelings and himself as a person working in the world. And point 4 in comments. Inexact markers. The inexact marker that seems to best summarise the whole experience of the subject in terms of the markers extracted from his speech is the marker 29, 24, 03, 20, 28. And you'll find that in the inexact markers, and it's marker number 29, they're all in numerical sequence, so you'll actually find that, which correlates with the words liberate myself from. This is the main purpose of the interview and the disguise to be liberated. This marker has been highlighted in cyan, that's light blue. You'll see it's a big block in blue in the inexact markers. So on to themes now. I'm not going to cover all of these. There's just 3 that I want to dwell on, and they're all in alphabetical order. So these themes are like all of the keywords that I've extracted from the markers, the marker components, and put them into groups or themes. So the first one is acting. There's lots of reference to that, so I'll just go through the word list. Absent-minded, act on stage, appear before an audience, devote attention, distracted, focus camera, give facts, know by heart, imitate, long-winded, make one's appearance, especially an actor, performed, plant oneself, point something out, positioning, read aloud, seen, sing, talk, have with. Coaching, apprentice, concede, conclude, contract, to do one's homework, drill, following, lean on support, memorise, obey an order, pliant, pupil, schooling, train. And disguise, there's a lot for that. So change beyond recognition, complicate, confuse, constitute chemistry. That would be like the chemical makeup of the prosthetic that he's wearing. Disguise being, draw out, elastic, expand, fix, impersonate, implant, something foreign into the body actually. Look like someone, mutilate someone, pretend not to be present, repair, represent graphically, resemble someone, rub over something, sculptures, stratified, substitute, take on a new quality, or take on the shape of someone. So what it seemed to me by looking at the disguise aspect of the analysis was that that he's sort of like basically trying to disguise himself, and also the situation as well, and I'll come on to that later. So again, with the components, I'll go over the exact. With regards to the markers, I'll go over the exact markers because I've mentioned them several times, and I'll just let you hear them one after the other, so you get a flavour for the component, the marker section of the report. So I've got become furious with someone. The next one is to commit adultery, fornicate, whore. The next one is to be high, lofty, exalted, to exceed something, especially a number, go beyond. The next one is to grumble, complain about. The next one is to trail a garment, strut, swagger. The next one is to declare someone bankrupt or insolvent, to become bankrupt or insolvent, to fail or to be ruined. The next one is to be headed, to aim, to intend something. And with regards to the, like I said, with regards to the marker which best fits or summarises or epitomises the whole of this presentation or the analysis is the one that I've actually highlighted in cyan, and you'll actually see that when you go through the report. So I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. So that's been my report on Dave, who I don't believe is who he claims to be. But I've left the interpretation blank. I mean, what do you think? What's your interpretation? What do you think about my analysis? If you, I'd be really grateful if you put your comments in the comment section below, and see what conclusion you come to. As usual, you'll find a link to my report and the source materials in the description below. If you like the video, please remember to like, share and subscribe. It's been wonderful having you, and look forward to seeing you in the next analysis, which hopefully should be with regards to the actual name Dave, and what that actually means. So look out for that. Catch you later.